The lesson this morning is about Jesus teaching and demanding proper relationships with others. Jesus taught it, Jesus demanded it, that we have a proper relationship with others if we're going to be His disciples, people of God, New Testament Christians. There's a way that we should conduct ourselves with others. I grew up right over here on Lone Oak Drive, and it was a neighborhood with a lot of kids back then. We walked to catch the bus in latter years, and earlier times we'd walk all the way to Parkview. We played ball a lot. There was only one leather football in the whole neighborhood. It belonged to a family that was a little bit better off than the rest of our families. Some of us had one of these little vinyl covered balls, but they weren't very good. A leather football could be kicked farther and thrown better and received better. And like I said, there was only one. That one family had a leather football. We played it every Sunday afternoon during football season. This family that had the leather football had two boys, just a little over a year apart. They were very close in age and size. And they fought all the time. And I mean, actually fist fights, blood flowing, and knock you out kind of swings that were made. I mean, they fought violently. And the dad would come out when he'd hear an uproar going on, and he'd say, "Throw me the ball, boys, throw me the ball." And he'd take the football away from us many different times. Not every week, but many times. And I remember some of us guys talking to these brothers before the game started. We begged them, "Please don't fight today, boys. If you put them on the same team, they'd fight about who's going to be quarterback. If you put them on opposite teams, they would fight because they were in competition with each other." And we played tackle football without equipment. And we begged them, "Please, please, we won't play football. Don't get in a fight today." And sometimes they would, but a lot of times they didn't. I learned a couple of things from that growing up. Everybody wants to be quarterback. Everybody wants to be quarterback, but very few achieve that goal. And I also learned that when we don't get along with others, other people suffer. And it caused all of us boys to have to pack our bags and go back home because the football was taken away. Third grade at Parkview School, my teacher was Miss Sheely. I learned later on in life, I was in my 20s, that you could go back to your school and ask for your records. They're yours. And teachers would evaluate each student at the end of the year and write down their thoughts. So I thought it'd be interesting, and so I did. And Miss Sheely, one of the ones that stood out, she said, "Johnny seems to be a happy person." And I was glad I was happy in the third grade. She said, "He plays well with others." I thought, "Oh, that's pretty good." I got myself on the back. He plays well with others. But I thought, "Miss Sheely, you weren't there when Mama took my cold watermelon out of the refrigerator and divided it up for all the kids in the neighborhood to have a piece, a small piece." I got so mad about it, I got upset and ran away from home. But I only got to the bottom of the hill and found out I didn't know anywhere to go. But I thought Miss Sheila didn't see the little temper tantrum that I threw about Mama giving away my watermelon. I didn't play so well with others that day, but that is a test of character. How well do we get along with others? I understand that employers have learned that it's not always the smartest college graduate that makes the best worker. Sometimes your C and B average student gets along better with others than the highly intelligent ones. Also, the good-looking ones are not necessarily the ones that are your best candidates for the job, because they may be too much in love with themselves and not think about others in the right way. It's a real test of character concerning how do we get along with others. How do we play well with others is the challenge. And some have a problem with that, and some of us will always have a problem. That's one of the weaknesses that we face and have to try to work through. But I know the Lord taught it, and the Lord demands that we have the right relationship with others. First of all, in his teaching and demanding, Jesus taught that we should reconcile whenever we have a difference with someone else. Now, it may be a family member, it may be a classmate, could be someone we go to church with, could be someone we work with. We got a problem, we got a difference, and there have been some angry words exchanged, some remarks made, maybe some even bad things done. And Jesus says, no, this is not right. I want my people to reconcile whenever there are differences that come about. He taught about this from the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5 and verse 23 and 24. If you bring your gift to the altar, and remember that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother. There's the word we're looking for. Reconciliation. Be reconciled to thy brother, then come and offer your gifts. God's not impressed with your beautiful singing voice. He's not impressed by your prayers. He's not impressed by your reading of the scriptures every day. Those are good and nice things. But what impresses our Father is that we want to reconcile whenever there's been hurtful things said and done. Be reconciled to our brother, then come and offer our gifts. Do the singing, do the praying, do the reading. God appreciates that. But you've got to get things right with your fellow man. You know, if we knew we were going to be dying today, are there some phone calls that we would make this afternoon? Are there some people we would call and say, listen, you know, I know we've had hard feelings in the past, and I want to be forgiven. I want to get this corrected. Well, we need to do that as if it were our last day. Jesus said, be ye reconciled to God. Also in Matthew 5, verse 38 beginning, Jesus said, you've heard that it's been said, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I say resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn him the other also. That's what the Lord expects. And if any man sues you and take away your coat, let him have your cloak also. And we'll look at some of these other verses in just a moment. Also in Matthew chapter 6, verses 14 and 15, if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will forgive you. If you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father in heaven forgive you. So Jesus expects that we reconcile the differences that are going on in our life, whatever the situation may be. Reconcile. We can't please God unless we reconcile the difference between us. That's what he expects. That's what he taught, no doubt about it. Second of all, Jesus taught and expected that we not judge others. That's from the Sermon on the Mount too, of course, Matthew 7, verse 1, judge not. He's saying to the disciples, he's saying to you, to me, that you be not judged. I don't want to be misjudged, so why should I judge you? With what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. What measure you met, it shall be measured unto you. Why beholdest thou the mote that's in thy brother's eye, and you consider not the beam that's in your own eye? How wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite! First cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then thou shalt see clearly to cast the mote out of thy brother's eye. So what does the Lord teach? What does the Lord expect? That we not judge others, misjudge others. A lady was in the checkout lane of a big grocery store. She noticed in the buggy in front of her, the cart in front of her, there was a lot of things, and on top was a huge bag of frozen shrimp. And also there was a big cake. And she heard the clerk say, as the lady went through the line, that cake was $17.56. And the woman stood behind the cart and the lady, and she thought to herself, I work hard every day. My husband works hard. We don't buy, well, the woman paid for all these things with food stamps. And we don't have food stamps, and we work hard, and we don't buy $17 cakes. Can't afford it. We don't buy huge bags of shrimp. And she was so mad and upset. she came out and got in the car, and she told her husband what had happened. He said, what did the woman look like? She told her, he said, I saw her come out. I know the one you're talking about. And he said, I work with her. She said, no kid. He said, yeah, I work with her. Well, I did. So about a year and a half ago, she had to quit work to take care of her daughter who has cancer. And he said, I heard some of the women talking Friday at work. They're going to have a big party for her this weekend. Cake and ice cream and all the things, because she doesn't have long to live. The woman said, oh my Lord, have mercy on my soul. I misjudged this lady and did not appreciate the health of my children and family as I should. And their needs for that family, Lord, have mercy on me. It's easy to misjudge others without knowing the facts. A father and his daughter were in the playground, and after she played a little while, he brought out 2 apples. They looked the same, and he was going to give her one and eat one himself. And she grabbed both apples, took a bite out of each one of them, and then she handed him the other one. She said, he thought to himself, oh, I've got a selfish daughter here. I need to do a lot of teaching. But she said to her daddy as she handed him the apple, here, Daddy, this one is juicier and sweeter, and I wanted you to have the best one. He misjudged her motives. It's easy to do. Jesus said, judge not. We don't know. We need to make sure we try to keep our own plate clean. Third of all, Jesus taught and practiced human relationships in regard to the golden rule. Matthew 7:12, you know, it says, treat others the way you like to be treated. That's the golden rule. There's an old saying also, as you are hurt, so hurt others. As something hurts you, would you hurt others with that same pain? No, I wouldn't want to do it. I'd want to be treated the right way, and I want to treat others the right way. The family, Grandpa had to move in with them. Grandma had died. He was pretty feeble. When they ate together, he knocked over one of the bowls of food and shattered in the floor. His son carved out a wooden bowl for him and gave him a wooden bowl, which embarrassed him, different from the rest of the family. And some of them noticed he was getting some oatmeal and things on his face and his chin and his shirt. So somebody decided in the family that maybe he didn't need to eat with the rest of the family. He could eat in a separate room. And that's what they did. Out of his wooden bowl, he ate in a separate room. One day the father went out and he could hear his son in the woods shed there working. He said, what are you doing, son? He said, I've got this piece of wood here. He said, I'm carving out for you and Mama a bowl when you get where you need it. He said all of a sudden the wooden bowl was gone and the grandpa was moved back in with the rest of the family. When he got to thinking about, they got to thinking about how they would not like to be treated that way when they were grandpa's age, it made things different. Jesus said, treat others the way you like to be treated. Fourth of all, Lord taught confrontation may be necessary. We're talking about human relations now. We're talking about Jesus taught, Jesus demanded that we be different from the world and we do right. And one of them is sometimes there must be a confrontation. There must be a confrontation. Something's been said, something's been done. Instead of going around moping or having ill will or ill thoughts, we need to just confront it. And Barney Fife would say, nip it in the bud. You know, that's what we need to do. We need to do something about it instead of postponing and just being filled with wrong feelings. And so Jesus taught this. In Matthew 18, and verse 15 of that text, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he hears thee, thou hast gained thy brother. If he will not hear, take with thee 2 or 3 more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word shall be established. And if he neglect to hear them, tell it to the church. And if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto them as a heathen and a publican. Jesus had a plan, beautiful plan. But notice the confrontation. He didn't say, oh, just forget it, don't pay attention to it. No, something's been done that's wrong. Something's been said that's wrong. You know it is. You've been trespassed against. What you need to do, Jesus said. Hello? You got a cup of coffee? I'd like to talk to you about something I've heard you said about me or my family, or something that you said I've done. It's hurt us, and I want to talk to you about it in love and kindness. If they say, no, I'm not talking to you, I don't have no interest in talking to you, just hit the road, Jack, then you'll go to somebody else. Someone, hopefully, that's a relative or a friend of the other party, at least someone they would listen to, and you take them with you. We're here to talk to you. Now, what are they going to do? Jesus said if they won't do the right thing and talk, then you bring it to the church, evidently meaning the elders of the church, and let them decide what needs to be done. Maybe bring everybody involved, and there may be wrong on each side. Late Brother Batchelor Baxter said, if you'll take step number 1, 99% of your problems are gone. If you'll just go to the person in public yourself, in private yourself, and say, hey, we've got a problem, let's talk about it. 99% of the time, that's going to take care of the matter. So it is that Jesus expects confrontation. Most of us don't like confrontation, and it's not some of our best moments in our life, looking back sometimes, but it's something the Lord expects, and if we do it in the spirit of meekness and kindness, Galatians 6:1, it'll accomplish what he wanted to be accomplished. Fifth of all, Jesus taught and expected that we love one another. John 13:34 and 35, he said that a new commandment he was given, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you love one another. And by this shall all men know that you're my disciples, in that you have love one for another. Love is easy to talk about, but there are to be some acts that are evident about it. On the softball team in 8th grade, I was in the outfield and I kept missing some flies that I should have caught. And I kept apologizing to the coach. Sorry, coach, sorry, I'll get the next one. And finally he became irritated with me, and he said, would you quit apologizing and catch the ball? You know, that sometimes that's what we need to do, catch the ball. There ought to be some acts about us that show we're going to try to do the right thing. So it should be with love. Can you think of some examples of where you have shown love, provided love? The new commandment, to love others the way you like to be, or to love as we are loved, is that new commandment from the Lord. And then number 6, the last of the things that Jesus taught and demanded of his disciples and of us today, and that is to go the second mile. This is Matthew 5:41. I understand Rome ruled the world, all the Bible lands and the whole European scene and Asia, most of it. Rome ruled the world. Roman citizens were special. Paul found that out in some of his arrests when he had to make known to them, I am a Roman citizen. The law said that if a Roman had a heavy load they were trying to carry, needed some help, they could say to anyone who wasn't Roman, especially to the Jews, they could say to them, carry my load. And they had to carry it for a mile. That was the law. If a Roman asked of you or demanded of you help to carry their load, you had to do that for a mile. A mile's a long way if you're walking and carrying something. And the Pharisees especially would count it out exactly to the line, you know. And then they'd put down whatever they were carrying and walk away in disgust. Jesus said, I don't want you to be that way. I want you to go the second mile. You be known as a second miler, that you're willing to lift the bar, that you're willing to be a better person, that you are going to try to do the way that would be considered an extra effort toward making things as they should be between us and others, and us and ourselves and God. The second milers. So these are 6 things Jesus taught and demanded. Reconcile when differences occur. Refuse to be judgmental. Practice the golden rule. Confrontation may be necessary. Be known for your love. And go the second mile. If these things, the way we get along with others, is a test for us, did you pass the test today? How'd you do on the test? How do you do? How do you do when it comes to confrontation? When it comes to the golden rule? When it comes to being willing to reconcile? Are we judgmental? Are we guilty of practicing things with a very limited desire of completion? And so we're 1-milers when we need to be 2. Did you pass the test? I hope so. All of us. If there's one here today that's not a Christian and desires to obey the gospel or to be restored to the Lord, you know what you need to do. If you don't, let us know and we'll study together this afternoon. Whatever your needs may be, would you come now while we stand and sing? Tis for you and me, let us say so, thanks to its free. Is the fountain of love from the source of love, and He bids us all freely free. Will you come to the fountain free? Will you come? Tis for you and me, thirsty soul. Hear the welcome call. Tis a fountain open for all. There's a living stream with a crystal gleam from the throne of life. Now it flows. While the waters roll, let the weary soul hear the call that forth freely goes. Will you come to the fountain free? Will you come? 'Tis for you and me. Thirsty soul, hear the welcome call. 'Tis a fountain open for all. There's a home that's left, and no soul is left that may not its pure waters share. 'Tis for you and me, and